Which is one of the most rare features I'm going to be covering today because it is the chance of finding a desert well. So these desert wells only spawn in deserts, and they only spawn in 1 in every 1,000 chunks. That's right, a 1 in 1,000 chance of finding these in a particular chunk, which is so ridiculously rare. It means most worlds don't have them, but when you do find them, you know, every other world or every like 5th world or something like that, you go like, oh, it's a desert well, that's so rare. And then my head just goes, oh, okay, what now then? Because, you know, again, there's such a cool concept, like, wow, it's just a random little well in the desert, but the truth is, you already find a bunch of water in the deserts, like, you know, water spawns pretty commonly, at least based in my experience, so you don't need the water in there, and it's like, oh, but then there's sandstone, there's lots of it, and it slabs too, but then you got a question, like, do you need that much sandstone? And you're in a desert anyway, it's not like sand is, you know, like, particularly hard to find, and that's why I think desert wells are one of the coolest rare features that just mean nothing to anyone. Like, you find them, and you go, okay, well, let's move on to the next thing we're doing today, and that's why I'm kind of disappointed in them. I wish there was some use for them. Maybe there could be like a secret chest every now and then, or maybe it could just be like, oh, the water goes down into a cave. I don't know what you have to do with it, but the fact that it's just water and just sandstone in a desert where you usually find lots of water, and fun fact, lots of sand and sandstone, just makes me go, oh, sigh. And that's kind of the key point why I wanted to bring this up. So yeah, desert wells are 1 in 1,000 chance of finding them, but at least they don't inconvenience you when you find them. Like, you find it and you're like, oh, that's interesting, and then you move on. Let me know what you think about all of these rare features in the comments down below. Maybe you love desert temples, desert wells, sorry, because they remind you of your home, because you grew, I don't know.
You know what would actually be really cool though? You know the desert well? You know that little structure that spawns in deserts? It's a 1 in 1,000 chance, it's crazy rare, but people don't know or really even care because of the fact that like, oh, it's a rare structure. What a weird and wacky thing. Well, what if we had one in the Nether? I think this awful, ugly, useless structure would actually be really useful in the Nether. You could obviously make a Nether version like we'll do from scratch right now, because, you know, that's what we're doing here today. But the truth is, having one of these using water as the only way to find water in the Nether would be incredible. But even if you were to take it the other way around and you're going to be like, no, we're not going to give you the one resource you don't have, we're going to give you a resource that you're surrounded by, because deserts in Minecraft are, interestingly enough, actually usually filled you know, with water. There's like rivers going through them. There are water lakes. There's enough ways to find water in a desert, and there's enough ways to find lava in the overworld. But I think having these little lava structures would actually be genuinely useful, because that way you can, like, you know, start your furnace thing nearby, and yeah, you could find a corrupted desert well which is filled with lava instead of water, or even better, it could just be corrupted in blocks only, and you could find water in the Nether. That's what I'd love to see. I mean, we won't ever see it, but I think this is an example of a structure which works so much better in another dimension than it does in its own, just because it doesn't work in its own dimension. But I digress, let's go find another structure. We're gonna start on, again, we're going 1 to 10 by the way. I need to clarify that because this first structure, the 19th best structure in Minecraft, or some might call it the worst structure in Minecraft, is the desert well. I honestly would really love to give this a -1 for value, and a 0 for loot, and then maybe like a -5 for appearance, because all it is it's a well that can spawn in the desert. It counts as a structure. I wanted to believe it didn't. I wanted to disqualify it from the list, but it's a structure they added in 1.3 if I'm not mistaken, and they were like, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if you could find water in deserts? And that sounds great till you realize, oh, water is not rare in deserts. There are rivers meandering through them, also there are lakes, and also it's made from sandstone. It's so small, it's so ugly, and it's rare in a way that makes it not even that useful at its intended purpose of giving you water. It is a really confusing structure. Again, the value it adds is the minimum it can add to Minecraft. The loot it adds is 0. Water is not a form of loot, but again, we're 1 to 10 scale, so it gets a 1 for loot. And for appearance, I do have to admit, it's not ugly, it just isn't anything. It's the most basic well that anyone could do, but I guess it's not the most offensive thing in the game, and that brings us into the 18th best structure in Minecraft. Now we're getting controversial. I mean, the Desert Temple and the Fossil, a lot of people don't even really consider them structures because you can't stand in them. I guess you could stand in a desert well, but you wouldn't want to for any reason whatsoever. We're just going to be starting right over here next to that same woodland mansion, and we're going to be starting with the smallest Minecraft structure, the one I feel most confident about, because I feel like the desert well is a nice, easy one to start with. It definitely uses really old Minecraft blocks. We're going to go for some sandstone. There's some sandstone slabs in there, but I think that's literally it. I think it's those 2 blocks and then maybe a water bucket. That's my feeling on our first structure today, and again, it's a really, really easy design because of just how bad it is. I've criticized it many times before because it just isn't a very unique or interesting concept in my opinion. It's just like a square of water that looks like that, and then that means there's like pillars coming out from here, 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 and here, and then like all the way around the edges, it kind of like waves up and down the entire way. Actually, this doesn't seem right either, like this kind of thing we've got going on right here. I think it might be like it's like that, all the places except where the water is. So it should be something like this, maybe. Although, shouldn't the water then go through the slabs? You know, we'll see what happens. So water there, water there, water there, water there, and water there. Oh, I guess it does stay. You know, why did Minecraft design a structure that was deliberately having water coming out the top? It could be that I'm wrong and it's like a block further down. Oh, I think that's probably what actually is happening here. Anyway, let's build the top of this, because after 2 blocks, there is then some more slabs. And then there is the kind of top of the desert well, where for some reason, because I mean, the desert well would be too plain unless they added the cherry on the top. And my god, look how beautiful this is. So this is my finished desert well. This is how I'm pretty sure that they look. And we're gonna now see how they actually look in the wild. And, damn, that thing about the water, I said it, like, it was very weird that they were using the Minecraft kind of glitch there. But they weren't. It's actually 1 block lower down. But still, not too bad. Or maybe it's actually horrendous that even the smallest structure we couldn't get right. The village just over here, as you can see, it's not too far away. Wait, yeah, over here. It's not too far away. If you want to spot if you're on the right way or not, easiest way is if you pass a desert well, Minecraft's best structure, then you'll know that you're heading the right direction. Actual villages that aren't made from, you know, junk. Whether that be the lava pools, the desert wells. We all love a desert well, don't we? Just note those down and you can find this second desert temple, or even crazier than having 2 desert temples, plus the desert well you saw earlier next to a village, is the fact that in the distance, you know what you're gonna find. It's the craziest, rarest, most unexpected thing in the world. It's another desert well. Yeah, this one's chunky too, because it has to generate on a lot of land. You know what? Look at this. There's just so much free sandstone. How else would you get sandstone and water in a desert? There's just no other places you could get water in a desert. I see none of them. So having this structure, really love it. It's beautiful. It's a great source of blocks and resources, and it really makes you feel like the desert is an alive place. But yeah, basically the other thing you want to come to this desert for is this 3rd desert well. That's right. You thought the seed couldn't get any crazier, but there's another one of these. No, there's actually, conveniently enough, right here, a nice little abandoned village. You don't usually see in Minecraft, like, oh, there's a desert temple, here's a pillager tower. What are they doing next to each other? Why have they got enchanted crossbows? These are questions you can ask yourself, or perhaps you could ask yourself how you missed the 3rd and most important structure here. That's right, there's a desert well. Yeah, I found one. I love it. It's such a good structure. It makes my day noticeably better. I mean, in a year like 2021, I guess, now it is. In a year like 2021, you know what we need in our life? More desert wells. They're just so great. I love them so much. And anyone who says they dislike them, you know what? You better believe it. We block from the comment section forever, because look at it. 5 bits of water. Not 1 bit of water. Not 2 bits of water. 5 water sources. Wow, what a treat that is. And this one generated as like half of a island, with the other half being a desert. And you know what's on that other half of the island? That's right. Yeah, it's a desert temple. The joy has been brought back to my life. You know what? When Karen took the kids, I didn't know if I was going to be okay again. But then I realized that, you know what, desert wells exist in Minecraft, and this one even comes with some free blocks of sand. Why does it come with free sand? How does it come with free sand? I don't know, I don't care, but it still functions as an infinite water source even after that point. I think you're going to have a good time on this seed, but that's my opinion. Let me know what your opinions are in the comments down below, and you know, as long as they're not bad things about desert wells, I will ban you. They are beautiful. They are the most important structure we've ever had, and if you say otherwise, you know what? Is authoritarianism a good idea? No, unless it comes to defending the desert well, and then it's a-okay. And because it's across the desert, you're going to find lots of villages, as you can see. You're going to find lots of lava. You're going to find lots of desert temples. And, you know, if you're really lucky, if you really cross your fingers and you hope and you believe that, you know what, Minecraft's best structure, you are worthy of it. If you just believe that one day you can find a structure that allows you to find water in a desert, something which is otherwise impossible, and sandstone. I just never know where to look for these 2 things. And do you know where I find it? Do you know where I'm lucky enough to sometimes find that salvation? That's right, it's a desert well. I mean, it's admittedly just 5 bits of water, a few blocks of sandstone, and some slabs. But other than that, it's pretty much the same as salvation and eternal glory. Another fascinating thing about the deserts, which will duplicate because of this world code, is the desert well. As you can see, desert wells are considered a small structure
I don't know why. They're such a great part of Minecraft's history. I mean, look at this thing. You ever want water in a desert and you just don't know where you're going to find it? I have this issue all the time, and I love that Desert Well exists, and it's kind of OP that they can generate every single chunk, because, again, same well generator asking, should a desert temple generate here? And the answer is yes. So we go 16 blocks, and it has the exact same answer. Yeah, to generate a desert well. Another 16 blocks, generate a desert well. Why not? Another 16 blocks. Yeah, go on, you know, have another desert well. Unless the conditions don't precipitate it, as in the case of this river, but another 16 blocks and there's more. And yeah, it's super bizarre to look at.
Some great structures, but that's not the reason I showed you the seed. The reason I'm showing you the seed video today is because of this absolute glory right here, just to the south of this village, as you can see, just down here. You can find something I think is just beautiful beyond belief. It is a desert well. Get this. You're in the middle of the desert. You think, I need some water, some beautiful desert-colored water. You find a well. It's great. Where else would you find water in a desert, right? There's just no other locations. There definitely aren't rivers or oases like I showed off previously in this video. And it's also like, you know, water is so essential in Minecraft, you need it all the time. So what do you get when you type in this seed besides my two favorite structures? The desert temple, and let's be honest, far above it, the desert well. Oh, it's such a glorious thing. Look at it. It makes the design of the desert temple look garbage. Look at the beauty and the hours they had to spend into crafting this structure in Minecraft. Oh, mwah, mwah. And a desert well, because water is so rare here, as we all know. But it's the same thing that can describe exactly why this desert temple over here, you know, by the way, it's not just the one desert temple on the seed. There's a lot. It's a big desert. There's lots of structures. There's even a desert well, but that's less exciting. Look at this desert well right here. How about we mention the fact that if you go to the desert, which is to the left of this village, which has a outpost inside of it, which sucks to be them, but also sucks to be you if you light up this seed, because you know everyone's favorite structure, the desert well, it is here and here and here and here, because this is one of the other minor structures affected by this. Every single chunk there is a calculation that is run to work out if there should be a desert well, and because of this seed, that calculation gets a bit broken, and as a result you get over and over and over again, desert well after desert well after desert well, in a perfect, just to prove it's a perfect diagonal line, in a perfect diagonal line, just like this. It really is quite astounding to see, right? Just in case you feel like free loot from the game is a form of cheating, but you still like structures anyway, good news, we have the perfect structure for you. This is Minecraft's ultimate structure. Nothing yet beats it because it is the only way to find water in deserts. It is incredible for that reason. It looks stunning. It was designed by a build team, which to this day I have yet to see anyone match. The desert well is just a beautiful piece of Minecraft engineering, and there is one found on this seed. Again, it's the only way to find water in deserts. While you're in a desert biome, there is precisely no other way of finding water. There's just none of it. So water in the oasis of a desert, you know, something you can't get in any other circumstance, it's really cool to see that we have some of that found right over here. But you know what else is wonderful? The, desert temple that initially drew us there. I know I have to contain my love for the desert well. I mean, sometimes, how are you gonna find water in a desert without the desert well? It is physically impossible. There are no other water sources anywhere, so to have two of them so close together, I'm holding myself back, don't get me wrong. And you know what the most tragic bit about this seed is? It's the fact that this entire desert does not contain a single desert well. You know what, you can give me all my, diamonds and the chests and the enchanted books all you like, but when you don't give me water in the desert, only this sad, cruel gesture of lava, I just feel betrayed and sad. But just in case somehow you're not interested in either of those two things, you're like, I'm here for the interesting structures like the one you mentioned, probably in a title or thumbnail, Toycat, well then allow me to slide over here to the right some more, because here you can see there's a desert well. It's Minecraft's best structure. Wow, it's water available in the desert. You know what you can't find in deserts? Water. There's absolutely none of it available, and I love being able to find a desert well right here, but more seriously, where you could be like, you know what, I'm feeling pretty sad today. This is so dumb. But you know what else is dumb? Rare structures in Minecraft are usually quite a great thing, unless they come in this form, because you know what? The only thing rarer than an abandoned mine shop with a puzzle going through it is one of these guys right here. These desert wells are so rare and so useful, because you know what? You're in the middle of a desert. Where are you going to find water? There's not a single other source of water. I mean, there's no ways to find it whatsoever, and it's a really rare niche problem that you have in the desert with not being able to find any water or any sources. So, yeah, having access to it is really, really great great to see. Love that there's a desert well on the seed. Really adds to the nature of the desert. I said it was a great desert before. What I was really alluding to is the fact that you find one of these guys in here, or rather, I should say 2 of these guys in there. Make sure you write down these, coordinates in the top left right here. This is the most important thing on this seed, and you better believe that you need to take note of it. I mean, a part of me, feels bad for roasting the desert well. Another part of me says, you know what? Why is it sucked for so many updates in a row? Who is this for? Who thought this was a good idea, damn it? But yeah, things that you actually might want to write down your coordinates for, because I'd admit that's a thing that you kind of might like. I don't think this is the best desert in the world, especially because it only has the 2 villages, nothing else in here, not even a desert well. Minecraft's, 1 in 1,000 structure. If this had a desert well, my opinion would change so much, because I love desert wells so dearly. They're so useful. How else do you find water anywhere near a desert? You just don't see the 2 things anywhere near each other. So yeah, with that said, let's go show you the rest of the seed. But also, we go to the north of here, we find something even rarer. That's right, it's the world's favorite structure, the desert well. Oh, I love these things so much. They're so delightful, so love it so much. But more seriously than that, if you head to the north some more, you can see how only a little bit north of this village, there is another desert well. That's right, our favorite structure here to save the day. You need water in the middle of a desert. There's literally no other place you can find it. There's only one source of water in the desert biome. I can't find any others anywhere because deserts don't have water, as we know. It's only in these desert wells. Well-known fact. Because just a little bit to the west of this village, there is another village. 4 villages in the same desert. Which is wacky, as well as the desert temple, of course, and the desert well is the most important thing.
And if you want what the seed is IBX well, as in desert well, but like D well, and it does actually come with a desert well. That's one of the really cool things about it. If you're wondering why desert wells are so rare, or so important, they're a 1 in 1,000 chance, which on PC just means go looking for ages, but on Xbox it just makes them really rare. And if you're wondering what 1 in 1,000 chance means, it's 1 in 1,000 chunks, and there's not many chunks in desert biome, maybe like 50 to 100 at max for a pretty big one. So you're talking really rare to find them, so it's pretty impressive that there's one of those there. To finish off the seed, with obviously the desert well, which you are missing, if you head to the exact opposite corner of the map, for some reason the desert biomes are on literally exact opposite corners of the map. If you head over to the second one, the bottom corner one, you'll find yourself this nice little desert well over here in the far corner over here at these coordinates, which are x minus, wait, let's quickly go exactly onto it. The coordinates are x minus 326 and z 187, and this is a desert well. It's, they're not actually too special themselves, but they are really rare. It's nice to have one in your seed, and it's just a really cool sight that you might want to see for yourself, because, I don't know, they're really rare. You might want to see one just for the sake of seeing one, because most people haven't until level 12, because you only are limited to one world, and it's just a fun little thing to do if you're at the desert well and don't really enjoy doing things that much anyway. But yeah, let's head back to the surface and try and find ourselves one of the other structures. This one's a little less relevant, and this one is the desert well, and it's a little bit rare. It's a 1 in 1,000 chance to spawn on a chunk, which means they're incredibly rare. Basically 1 in 1,000 chance. The chunk is 16 by 16. You can do the basic math there, and basically they're somewhat interesting. Well, not really somewhat interesting. They're just a sight. You see them, you're like, oh, that's rare, and then you sort of move on. They're a pretty good way to get water in the desert, although water does spawn naturally anyway. But if you're just going really long and you do need water for whatever reason, you obviously don't need to hydrate in Minecraft that badly, then there's an infinite source. It is one of the more interesting infinite source designs as well, which is quite cool in my opinion. The well in the villages don't, and they do. But if you just take the outside blocks, then the middle one, then they just disappear, and that's fun, I guess. But yeah, that's the desert world. Not too much going on for it, but it's a sight to see. You see it, and you're like, oh, that's cool, and then you move on. Also coming on 1.2. So next we have the jungle temple.
For babies, this is my controversial opinion. Actually, not a far more controversial opinion that I'm willing to defend, is that the desert well, a 1 in 1,000 chance of spawning in Minecraft per chunk, is the best structure in Minecraft. Think about it, right? You're in the desert and you're like, oh, I'm sure excited for a desert temple. I sure am excited for the idea that maybe I might find myself... That didn't work at all. I sure am excited for the idea that maybe I'll find myself, a village and some great loot like that. No, the thing you're really looking for is this. It's water in the desert. Where else can you find water in the desert? Nowhere else, I tell you. There is no way you can find water besides this, and that's why one of my Minecraft pro tips is find a desert well, because these things are so great water and deserts sound like the opposites, but with the desert well, you can have them together for only $5.99 a month. I feel like that's where this pitch is going. No, desert wells suck. A lot of Minecraft structures suck, in fact, but a lot of them are great too. You also could, if you wanted to protect your wells, you know, your very valuable resource. Everyone knows how great a desert well is. Everyone knows how useful it is to find water in the desert. There's none of that anywhere else, and therefore you want to protect them from pillagers and zombies and creepers, and the best way to do that is to build a wall, make your Minecraft desert well great again. Let's be honest, it was never great. There was never a point in time where this was a valid idea. How did it even get into the game? I mean, it makes the abandoned mine shaft look like a beautiful piece of art, I guess. But yeah, look at that. We built a wall, and now only we can get into this beautiful oasis.
So yeah, that's just the spawn area. Oh, also desert well. Again, they're nice to look at in my opinion. If you like looking at one, you haven't seen one before, that's just over here. But yeah, we're excluding that. Because do you know what the worst structure in Minecraft is? It's also one of the rarest on a per chunk basis, because there is a 1 in 1,000 chance in any given desert chunk. I have checked this time and time again. It seems like they're more common because you have no positive emotion when it comes up, but you feel a lot of negative and confused emotion. But the desert well is one of the rarest structures in Minecraft, but despite that fact, do you care about it? The answer is no. You know, the other example was like a friend's house where you really want to like it, but you just don't. You go there and you feel like you put too much effort in. This is like a friend's house where, you know, like you don't like the friend and you don't want to be there, but for some reason you just keep stumbling across it. Like you try to walk home and one day you walk to your friend's house and you're like, oh no, not this guy again, because it's a guy who has just 5 blocks of water in his house. He lives in a well. I don't know where this analogy is going, but my point here is the desert well is the most ridiculously pointless structure. If anything was on this rarity, you'd be excited, but the desert well offers you some sandstone in a biome where I just can't work out how I'd make sandstone. There's just none of it around, so good thing we've got that here. You also find some water. It's a 1x3 source though, not the superior 2x2 water source. This video was made by the 2x2 water source gang. But no, more seriously, like look at this. This is like, okay, you can get water an infinite amount out here, I guess, but you know where else you can get water from in the desert biomes? Rivers, which run through them pretty regularly. There's one just to the left, just to the right, and just all the way around this. As you can see right here, it's a little desert, you know, water place where you find sugarcane and various things. But you can also find on top of both of these water sources, ravines and other various caves will sometimes spawn with water within them. Water is found all over these places, is the point I'm trying to get across, so having a dedicated structure for it is kind of questionable. Also, we have in case you think like, well, I mean, it's a desert well, you know, it's especially special, but you know what the best thing is? There is a second type of desert well. It's not just this one, which again, we stumble across another one. Is it exciting? It's not, but the second type of desert well you can find is found in any village. This is obviously a, you know, like a savanna village, but you'll see the basic point. Every desert biome will spawn with a second type of desert well, which is, you know, like less, you know, rare anyway, which looks like this, also contains infinite water. There is water all over the desert, and unlike in real life, where in the desert you need to, you know, drink water because otherwise you'll die, it's, you know, they're really non-humid environments there. Really weird things. Oh, this one has a cacti somehow spawned in there. That's a weird placement. But but the point is, you have no need for the water, no need for the sand zone, and no need for the rarity of the whole thing. It's just a thing that happens and makes you go, really? This still exists in the game? I don't know how you'd make these useful. Maybe you could have them, you know, have a chest in. I know that's the solution to everything, give it a chest, but like maybe make it out of some more unique blocks, like chiseled sandstone, or, you know, do something, I'm not even sure what. Like try and make some element of this structure more unique, more interesting, because right now you just stumble across them and wonder like, is this a relic of Minecraft past? Is this like a beta feature they added because they figured that would be a good idea? Back when water, you know, didn't used to be infinite, it used to be slightly weirder. It actually used to all be infinite. But like, you know, is that a thing they did? No, this is just a feature they added, and then maybe they didn't add the functionality later. I don't see any real way to save these. I think, honestly, you remove this feature from the game tomorrow, most people wouldn't notice or care. They'd be like, oh, I need to find a desert well because I'm making a video on how pointless desert wells are. Maybe, you know, something like that. I'm the last time you thought about this structure, aren't I? You're like, oh man, you're really, you know, talking about something which is a dead horse. It's not a dead horse. I think the last time I spoke about these wells was 2016. It's just that's 100% the time you hear about them. Every single time this structure comes up, it's because of how pointless, rare, and, you know, kind of worthless these things are, and they're not even the better type of water source, and just in general, my point here is that desert wells are a sad structure, which, you know, if there were a lot of these in Minecraft, if there was like a, you know, 100 different types of rare mini structures you could find that, like, existed just to make Minecraft feel more alive, that would make more sense. But these are the only one of a special type of structure, a mini structure, let's call it, where it's just like, yeah, there's a bunch of things you can find. And what's the purpose of those things? Well, they exist, they sure do. They exist so hard, you wouldn't believe how hard they exist. They're the best at existing, you could say. If you explore Minecraft a lot, you'll find a lot of desert wells. Even though they're only one in every 1,000 chunks, you get deserts which contain multiple 1,000 chunks, and therefore statistically, you're going to find more than one desert well. Try and give some value to them, or if you're not going to do that, try and add lots of these mini structures. In the case of the desert well, 10,000 blocks is far, but you're not coming 10,000 blocks just to get desert wells, I hope. If you are, then I have some concerns about you that you should probably direct to your doctor. Wait, hit the bell. It's good for you. Your doctor will confirm when you go for your checkup session. There we go. That's good.